Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special episode. You guys are in for a treat. You've asked Chana Yael, my wife, to come back on another episode, and she has returned for a very special episode and a very special partnership. Let's get right into it.
You believe that a Yid will win in the end. That if you stand with Hashem and you stand for what's right, you will march across the finish line. You will have victory.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another episode of That Jewish Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Yirmeyahu. And before we begin, I want to share that today's episode is in partnership with Prizmah, the network for Jewish day schools. Prizmah supports Jewish day schools and yeshivas by strengthening leadership, advancing research, and helping schools better serve students and families. This conversation is inspired by HaYidion, Prizmah's thought leadership magazine that centers the real experiences of families and educators in Jewish day schools. You can learn more and read HaYidion and Prizmah at prizmah.org. So now let's begin, ladies and gentlemen. So as I said, this is in partnership with Prizmah. You can go to prizmah.org and see all that they have to offer. It's an awesome organization that's continuing to help, to fund, to forward our Jewish day schools, our yeshivas all across America and beyond. And they have asked us to present a podcast episode for their spring issue of their magazine, HaYidion. And today I brought my wife into the studio, Chana Yael. Welcome back to the show.
Hello.
Yeah. We're so glad that you've come back to join me, my partner in crime. I think my podcast is 10 times better with you on there. I have probably 20 times more engagement when you're on my podcast. So if you want this podcast to go worldwide, I mean, yeah, keep going on episodes.
Hilarious. No.
So you heard it first, ladies and gentlemen. She doesn't want the podcast to be successful. So if it blows up, then it's her fault. Okay.
Those are not my words, but okay.
So today we're talking about rebuilding from scratch, just like the title of this podcast, talking about friendship, identity, and the Jewish path of starting again. All right. So as most of the listeners know, and some don't, I want to welcome all the listeners from Prizmah that are listening in. So most of you don't know us. So again, my name is Yirmeyahu. My wife's name is Chana Yael. We came into the Jewish identity through conversion. And we officially finished our GER process back in March of 2025 through the Chicago Rabbinical Council with Rabbi Reese. And we were taught by Rabbi Joe Finkelstein right here in Memphis, Tennessee at the Baron-Hirsch congregation. And it was about almost a 2-year process going through the GER process or the conversion process. And in that process, we had to take our children from public schools, not just any public school, like a really good public school it was like a free private school for the most part. That's how good this school was. And with the promise of, you guys will finish here, because we moved so many times, and we're like, you're not going to any more schools. That was the promise. But then Hashem had other plans. We converted, and then with the conversion process, we have to move into a Orthodox community. Kids need to be going to getting an Orthodox education. So that's where we start here. Do you want to add anything, first of all, from that story? Did I cover?
No, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was just transition all around.
Yeah.
So
in this episode, we're going to go back and forth, and it's going to be interactive. So I hope you guys truly enjoy it. And if you get any kind of value out of it all, make sure that you share this with somebody that you know, or somebody that's thinking about switching from schools, whether it be from city to city or whatever it may be. So let's get right into it. I've rambled on long enough. So let's go back a moment, Chana. The moment we realized that our kids would be leaving one of the best schools in the city. And remember now, they went from the principal, like, running us down in the school line, knocking on the car window. Hey, Mr. Yosef, can we talk to you real quick? Grace or Chloe, like they're not, I'm kind of concerned about them because they're, they're not really talking. They're not really interacting in school. And I just want to make sure that everything is okay, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, you gotta give them time to warm up. 2 or 3 years later, it's like, hey, they've really integrated well. They're starting to do, they're making friends, and Grace is having birthday parties, and Chloe is going after school stuff, and they're going to these dances, and the principal's like, man, they've blossomed, and then to take them to like pluck them out of that environment, which is a very secular public school environment, and drop them into a very from religious environment. What was going through your heart as a mother when that became real?
Yeah, I think once we were told that they needed a Jewish education in a Jewish school, I think that statement alone, just my heart dropped, because I was thinking about the promise that we made them that, after having changed school so many times, that this would be the last school they would go to. They would be able to go all the way through high school. And then with some of the background information on that, in this city, the education system is not great.
Right.
Let's see, by the time they had hit, my oldest was in 7th grade. We had switched schools maybe 4 times. And, that's not counting the 1 year in COVID where all schools were closed and we decided, well, we got nothing to lose. Let's homeschool.
Right.
So they've gone there. We're used to transitioning from school to school. But our daughters they're creatures of habit. They like things to be consistent, just like most kids anyway. That gives them a sense of safety. And so when we had found this other school, number one, the fact that they got in was great because it's a lottery system.
Yeah.
And so we were like, okay, we're set. We never ever again have to worry about what school they're going to go to. It's on a university campus. They have access to lots of resources. And like you said, by the time they had spent their 2 years there, they were finally getting comfortable making friends and warming up to people, and just, getting involved. And so when we had to break the news to them, I think we even said, like, if this is something they absolutely will not do, then we would have to rethink the whole conversion process. Yeah. Because it is such a big transition for them. Like it was a little bit of a heartbreak, to be like, oh gosh, they've done so well to get to where they are now. And be like, well, guys, remember how we're converting? Well, you also have to switch schools.
Right.
I mean, they were very disappointed. So for me, my main concern was like, okay, will they give up on getting accustomed to a new environment? Will they give it another chance? And so, it was the thought of the transition. I think there was more anxiety around making the transition. It was interesting.
Okay.
But then I guess on the flip side for you, what was it like? What was the hardest part for you to watch them going from that place where they did grow and feel more comfortable to coming to a new environment?
Yeah, it was. So we like you said, we had discussions about it, and I even tried to get around it, right? Because like, okay, well, they're going to be going through Garrett class with us. What is the need to also transition to the Jewish education? Now, mind you, I had no clue about the awesomeness of the Jewish education and I had no clue, right? All I knew was I was plucking my kids out of a place where I said I would never pluck you out of, and then dropping you into a place where you're learning not just new people. It's a new people, new environment. Energy's different. Context is different. Content is different. It's a religious school opposed to a secular school. These are Jewish kids who have, for the most part, all of them who were born into Judaism. All they know is Judaism. And here are my kids coming from this outside world who've been influenced by other things, know other things. I didn't know how things were going to mesh. Yeah. I thought back, especially our middle child, how she's very insular, and how she began to blossom and open up and want to ask to go to school functions and all these different things at this public school, which I really liked. Our oldest child was having, again, birthday parties and going to escape rooms with her friends and all these deep what we thought were going to be lifelong relationships that they were building. So the hardest part for me was breaking a promise to my kids that I made, and seeing the disappointment that they had on their face. Like, here we go again, another transition, a new people. We got to learn. So my fear was like, they're just going to they're going to shut everybody off. They're not going to make any friends, not because of anything of the academy, but because of just the whole transition process. And I also thought the hardest thing was this was a lot. So not only are we changing religions, changing neighborhoods, because we previously lived in our neighborhood for 7 years. We knew our neighbors, we knew the neighborhood, we knew everything. Yeah. We got used to that. And so we're changing neighborhoods, we're changing schools, we're changing religions, our friend circles, all these. That is a lot for, I guess at the time, what they were like, 13, 14, 8, 13 and 14, I think, or 8, 12 and 11.
2.5 years ago. So about 12, 13.
And Abigail was like 8 years old. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, I mean, it was a lot. So I think that was the hardest part, just to watch the disappointment on my kids' face and kind of wonder about the unknown. Right. I mean, that's unknown is always the scariest part of any transition that you make. Yeah.
I mean, I would add, I think the silver lining in all of that, despite the disappointment of having to break that promise, I think in the end, they understood. I think they were on board with conversion, period. I think that's the only thing that carried them through. They're like, well, we're going to go through conversion if that's what it takes. It's definitely not our favorite part. Definitely their least favorite part. But I think they were willing to do it because they wanted to get through with the conversion. Yeah. I mean, I concur with that. So it was conversion or bust for them, for all of us at this point. Because I mean, we had sold our home, we had moved into the community. I mean, there was no looking back. No looking back from there. But for you, what do you think was the hardest part for the kids? So we talked about the hardest part for you, the hardest part for me, and kind of speaking for our kids. And note, I did ask my kids to come on this podcast episode. All of them but one declined. The one that wanted to come on, she had more important things to do, like go play with her kids at her friend at the playground. So yeah, none of them are going to be on here. So we're going to speak for them. But we talked about the hardest part for you, talked about the hardest part for me. Yeah. What do you think was the hardest part for our kids emotionally when they realized that they weren't just changing schools, as we said, but leaving friends that they had already built some bonds with? Yeah. So what's interesting is, I mean, all three of them are so different. Our youngest, I think, had the least issues. I think she gets along anywhere
she's never
she
met
goes.
A stranger.
Yeah. So I think there was more excitement for her than anything to change schools. Number one, she was super excited about being Jewish. So she's like, oh, more Jewish kids. Great. And again, our kids have over the years, especially as we were even before coming into Judaism and deciding to convert, a lot of the lifestyle changes we had made were leaning Jewish. And so I think they identified more with that part of their identity. So anyway, for our youngest, for her, I think there was a lot of excitement around being around other Jewish kids. For our older two, I think they were just kind of definitely over the whole switching emotionally. I would say maybe our oldest had the biggest challenge. It was it was her 8th grade year.
Yes.
So she had graduated from her other school. So she got to graduate with her friends. And I think also what helped is that going into 9th grade, a lot of kids go to new schools. Like it's not uncommon for someone to be new in 9th grade. And so for her emotionally, it was the fact that, she had made those friends. They had phone numbers. They had a group chat. They were sharing. And then the last week of school, they went on a trip to St. Louis. And so for her, like, it was very emotional for her, going into that summer, realizing that maybe she won't see them as often. Like, I think ideally in their minds, they thought, well, we have our text group, we'll continue to communicate. Maybe we'll meet up a few times, which they did. But it's not the same. Like, you're used to seeing that's your experience every day at school. It's like, oh, I go to my friend group. We go have lunch together. We have classes together. Like, you experience high school together. Yeah. And so I think she was looking forward to experiencing that transition with them. And so, I remember and I've talked to her about this. It was just hard for her. And even throughout the summer, she was like, is there any way out of this? Like, even going into that first week of school, she was just not excited about it. Same with our middle child. I think she's a little bit more stoic. So I think she kept a lot of the thoughts to herself, but I pry a lot. So I asked them a lot of questions. And so for her, I think she was maybe more annoyed than anything. And so it was just like, oh, yet another change, whatever, let's get through it. Let's get it going so we can be done with, the awkward transitioning phase so I can get comfortable again, which, thank God they were well embraced. They are flourishing. Thank God. So what about you? Was there a time that you noticed, that they were struggling socially at all?
Yeah, I don't think I think because in their mind they had resolved, because it wasn't just changing the school, that the school change was not the end all to be all. The whole purpose of the school change was that we were converting to Judaism. And I think that they understood that. And that's something they wanted, right? So we kept saying over and over again, like, you don't have to go down this journey with us. You both are over the age of bar mitzvah age. You are free to stay at your school. You're free to have those same friends. Even with conversion, you're free to have those friends. But you can stay at your school. You do not have to convert with Ima and Abba. This is our decision. This is something we want to do. This is the path, the journey that Hashem has us on. You have to make sure that this is what God wants for you. And obviously for 13, 14-year-old, that's a heavy decision to make, but that's a decision that they had to make on their own. We did not coerce them. We did not push them into it. But when they decided that, yes, we want to convert in the same way that Iman Abba are converting, then I think in their mind, they resolved to, this is the path to doing this, changing schools. Yeah. I would say that I was more concerned about Grace, because again, our youngest child, she's never met a stranger. She's a bubbling, blossoming social butterfly that will, wherever she goes, she's going to have 15, 20 friends, and a bunch of people are going to follow her, love her, and do all those things. Literally the first day at school, she met a friend, and literally they're playing at the synagogue playground right this second. They've been friends from the day they met, the first day she stepped into the shul. So that wasn't an issue. The middle child surprised me because she, like you said, she's more the stoic. She keeps stuff inside. We don't really know what's happening until it happens. And she's very quiet, doesn't talk to people. But I think her grade is more social. So they kind of forced her to, like, no. You don't get to just hide and do nothing. Like, we're going to invite you to baking stuff. We're going to invite you out to outings. We're going to invite you to, the Starbucks or the Playa Bowl or, wherever they're going, to do whatever they're going to do. But it was Grace that I was more concerned about because she wasn't getting those invites at first. She wasn't hanging out with the friends at first. I was like, oh man, okay, here we go. The first two was cool, but okay, here we go. Like, maybe is it high school? Is it Mean Girls? Like what's happening? What's going on? That kind of affected me as a parent because, like, I don't want the other two to be blossoming socially, and then Grace feeling like she's left out without any friends and all those different things.
Which thankfully, I think, because we did think that in the beginning, but in talking to her, I think the way she explained it was that, well, people just they don't do anything. So when she was at school, she interacted fine. She found people that would sit with her at lunchtime. And again, she also keeps to herself a bit, especially in new environments. And, I think most of her social interactions were at school. A lot of her friends don't go to our shul. They go to a different shul that's down the street. So we don't get to see those interactions often. But yeah, I think in the beginning it was what you anticipate to see on the surface. We didn't really see that. I think we realized, okay, well, because the friends go to a different shul, those interactions are, just farther and few in between, or they just happen different places and differently.
Right.
I think a lot of times they just mostly just text.
And I forgot that detail, because even now, most of, like, if we're sitting at Kiddush, like, they'll grab, Chloe, Abigail, and her friends, they'll be gone, but Grace will be sitting there with us. Now, sometimes she gets up. She still has some friends now that come to our shul as well. But like you said, most of her friends are at the other shul, and that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So can you share a moment during the transition? So we talked about the transition, like their challenges, but can you share a moment where one of the kids surprised you with their resilience or their strength?
I think the whole time, I don't think there's a specific moment that stands out. I think the fact that they continue to show up every day and without quitting, not that they really had a choice to quit. I mean, once you show up to school, you have to be there. Yeah. But in terms of making friends, they never, they didn't quit. Also, like, I have to give like really huge kudos to our community, because those kids,
absolutely.
It's strange because a lot of times you think, when you go to the school, you're kind of leery of other kids because they tend to be mean, and we have this idea of bullying that's always going on. But the excitement that other kids have shown for our kids to be there, I think has helped them to just break, the uncertainty, the anxieties, the hesitancies. Like you said, they were invited to things all the time, like even before, especially after school started. And so thankfully, like I said, there's not quite one moment that I can pinpoint that I'm like, wow, you were so strong. But I think the fact that they continued to show up, and sometimes they did go outside of their comfort zones. I didn't push them much to go outside because being here already is a big deal. It's already outside of all of our comfort zones. Mm-hmm. And so if there was ever a time where they felt like they didn't want to go to a certain event, personally, I didn't want to push them, just because, okay, we're already pushing enough. You push. And every once in a while I would push where I felt like maybe it might be best for them to just socially push themselves so they can experience something different. And usually they've appreciated that. Yeah. Like initially they didn't care to go to basketball games. Eventually they went, and they're like, oh, okay, well, this is not so bad. We just go, we talk to our friends. Maybe you watch a game and we don't. But I am trying to think if there's a specific incident, but no, thankfully, again, I think this community has been amazing beyond what I would have expected. Our kids have been embraced, very positively.
Yes, and I'll say that too. So shout out to, I don't think we've formally said the school our kids go to, but Margolin Hebrew Academy. Yeah. Here in Memphis, Tennessee. Shout out to them. Shout out to Rabbi Dr. Brown, who's the head of the school, and then all the different the principals who are over each grade, because they've been over and beyond helpful, as well as our rabbi over the shul, Dr. Rabbi Ian Lichter, as well as Rabbi Joel Finkelstein as well, just over and beyond what you would expect from any new transition. It has nothing to do with this, particular school or that it's Jewish or whatever, just transition period. It was Southern hospitality on steroids.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But, I think the more things I read or different things I've been watching, I think that is something that is very special to Jewish community, period.
Yes.
Just this idea of, if you're one of us, we take care of each other.
Yeah.
Like, no one left behind. Like,
Nobody left
for
behind.
For real.
Absolutely.
Now, one thing I will say that I think about it that did surprise me in terms of their adjustment, it wasn't even socially, it was academically. I think, and when it comes to their general studies or I guess you call them English studies, I knew they would do okay with that. Their previous school prepared them pretty well.
Yes.
For the most part, we have one that went to not so great school. But, thank God she's getting some support. But when it came to Judaic studies, they grew very quickly. In the beginning, they struggled some. They had some prior knowledge. But that's one thing that I didn't really know what to expect there, what Judaic studies would look like.
Because our kids are starting smack in the middle of like middle school and then going up, or I think third or fourth grade going up.
Yeah, we started fourth grade, sixth grade, and ninth grade.
Correct.
So yeah, yeah.
So to jump right in, I mean, most people are getting this stuff when they're like 3. You're at their bedside.
Right. And thankfully, I will say, thankfully, the summer prior, they were getting tutored to strengthen their Hebrew reading. They knew some very basic skills in terms of reading, but that summer prior to school starting, they got some tutoring. So that was really, really helpful for them.
Absolutely. And
then it helped that transition when it came to their Hebrew classes. And so that I was really proud of when they started coming home and they had to practice their reading, and I would listen to them. I'm like, okay, I need to step my game up. I mean, obviously I can't really help them much. But I was very proud to see that they were.
You're a pretty good Hebrew reader. Don't sell yourself short.
Well, I can't teach them, which is fine. We're all learning together, which I think it helps make the process smoother. Like, they realize that we're also in it with them. But yeah, to watch them thrive academically, for me, that was very inspiring. Okay, so what about? Well, I guess. Yeah, the kids are going through the transitions, so they are feeling whether things are hard or not for them.
Right.
For you, like, what was hard? Sorry, let me rephrase that. In what ways do you think this transition was harder for us as parents than it was for them, and why?
I think it was for us. I think it again was just the unknown piece, right? And how would the community embrace our children? And we can't follow our kids around school. We can't. We don't have control how other kids are going to interact with them, how they're going to whether embrace them or reject them. Like, we have zero control over any of that. And then on top of that, I think. Which is funny enough that Rabbi Dr. Brown, Rabbi Lichter, Rabbi Finkelstein, I think they were more concerned about our kids than we were concerned about our kids,
yeah, that's a fact.
Which is amazing. But this, are they doing okay? Are they making friends? How's the transition? At this age, kids can be mean. They can say this, they can say that. Like, if there's anything anybody's doing, make sure that you come to this. And then I'll say this on here, even if there was something, which there wasn't, but even if there was, I don't know if I would tell them, because then I'm like, okay, they're probably going to have a conversation with us and the kid and the kid's parent, and that's going to make everything awkward. And we're these new people in the community, and why are they getting this preferential treatment? And does this happen with all the kids whether they're getting bullied or they're not getting, like, I didn't want the other parents to feel like, oh, we have to embrace these new kids. We have to invite them to this birthday party, and we've only known them for a few months while these other kids have known them for years. Like, we have to do these other things with the Yosef family that we may not do with other families we don't know, but, they're new to the community and we're quote unquote forced to do it. I think that was harder for me than anything else. I didn't want to feel like the community had to do something for us, because we weren't asking for anything. Still don't ask for anything. But it's kind of, I didn't want them to feel obligated to do something because we were new to the community.
Like, they might not be genuine.
Correct. So that was the hardest thing. But
yeah,
again, Baruch Hashem, everybody we've met, everybody we've we've been in this community now, 3 years or so, 2.5 years, 3 years, whatever it is. And all the interactions have been great. They've been genuine, open arms. The Jewish community here in Memphis, Tennessee, particularly, Baron Hirsch and the Young Israel of Memphis has been beyond amazing.
Yeah.
Beyond amazing. I can't say anything. If I say anything bad, it's either tongue in cheek or I'm joking or I'm just having a bad day, because it's just there's nothing I can say. I can't even put into words how appreciative we are with the transition for our kids. So really, they took the hard part out of it. I mean, they made it easier and set us at ease, because after we got to meeting with the principals and we got to meeting with the teachers and how the school is structured and what they're teaching and how they're teaching it and the care they give each one of the children, and the fact that there's only 7 kids in each classroom. That's huge difference from public school, and there's 30 kids in a classroom.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of our fears are put at ease because Margolin Hebrew Academy and the Memphis Jewish community is just beyond amazing.
Yeah. And at least, again, that being from our personal experience, and we'll talk about this, I guess, in a little bit, but I think a lot of the concern from others for us or for our children was, at least from my perspective, was really around the fact that our children stand out. They don't look like anybody else. They're the only or the darkest skinned children in the school. And I think that caused a lot of, I don't say discomfort, but I think people were concerned and wanted to make sure that didn't become a thing for the girls. And so thankfully, again, our daughters identify as being Jewish. So the way they look is not something that they obsess over. That's not something we teach them to obsess over. Right. That doesn't define who you are. Yes, others will see you this way. But again, I think a lot of the concern from others was that they wanted to make sure that they were, being accepted and that not being pointed out because of how they look.
100%.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about just the outside forces or whatever that have to do with transitioning from new school. It talks about, friendships or identity, starting over in a way. So how did faith show up for you? And I guess I could talk about myself as well, but how did faith show up for you personally during this time, especially on days when things felt uncertain or uncomfortable?
So for me, a lot of times when things got challenging, I always remember that we're doing this for the kids in the end. Yes, we are making a decision to make a very big change in our lives, to attach ourselves to a people, to a religion that is a big minority. But there's something that's very elevated about that. There's something very spiritual, very special about that decision that, yes, it means something to us. But in watching our girls grow, I could tell even their neshamas belonged. Yeah. They were Jewish souls. Yeah. And so even on days where I felt like, okay, this part of the curriculum is going to take me out, I'm tapping out. I'm like, I cannot do that because my kids' souls need this, would need us to see it all the way through.
Absolutely.
And so, that's what kind of pushed us through. And even on the days where I was struggling, I took advantage of that time to ask them, okay, hey, let's talk about, or do you have challenges? Are you questioning also, speaking of the girls, I would ask them how they feel about the transition. How are there any challenges? I would also kind of gauge where they were, kind of using myself as, I guess, as the gauge, or as the prompt to say, oh, I'm struggling. Maybe I should check on them as well, because surely they could have some things that are a little challenging for them. And so keeping that line of communication open was really helpful. And then just remembering also, why are we doing this? Why is this important? Yes, a lot of times it feels very mechanical that, okay, we're going through the transition. We're changing how we eat here. We're changing how our dishes are separated. We're changing schools. All of these external things are happening. But internally, again, we're remembering why we chose to make all of these external changes. There's something internal, spiritual, and that's very valuable. And that's worth us going through all of these changes.
I concur 100%. I think that I like what you said. There's something elevated about this. So it wasn't just, it's not easy going through the Garrett class, conversion class. They don't make it easy on purpose. They want to make sure that, if you're coming into this thing, you're serious about it, you want to do it, and that you are a conduit of elevation for Call Israel, right? They don't want to bring someone in that's going to bring the Jewish people down. We want to bring someone that's going to elevate the Jewish people. So in order to do that, you have to make it extremely hard. You have to learn everything. So pretty much, if people who don't know, if you've never met anyone who's converted to Judaism, at least the way we went through it through the Chicago Rabbinical Council, the CRC, what most Jewish people learn from the age of 3 to 13, we had to learn in 2 years. It was very intense learning.
Yeah.
Halacha and laws of Shabbos and laws of kashrut and laws of marriage and kids and all. I mean, it was a lot, but it was nothing worth having. It's easy to get, in my opinion. And like you said, it's something very elevated. It's something that we know we wanted. We knew that Judaism, the Jewish people, Call Israel, that was emet. That was truth. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was truth, and we're willing to leave everything else to connect to him in a special way. So I think that's what grounded us, because again, we're transitioning phase. So there's not much I knew about Judaism outside of Hashem is the truth. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is the truth. He has opened up the doors for us to move into a community that usually doesn't have a lot of real estate that's open. He opened up the door for our kids to come into the school right on time. So even our decision to transition was right in, from 1 year to another was almost seamless. Everything kind of fell into place the right way. So I was looking at that as like, man, all the signs point to we are doing the right thing. And I know that I don't think God would allow us to fail doing the right thing. Yeah. That's it.
So I had kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, but as a Jewish family of color, how did this experience shape the way that you think about belonging, about community, and where our kids feel truly seen?
I think it kind of, again, I use the word elevate. So it elevated my idea of what belonging and community meant. Because in Judaism, belonging and community isn't about the color of your skin. Right. Unlike, America and definitely the colonized parts of Europe, whether it be the UK, the Dutch countries, Spain, all the countries that
are actually colonized.
Yeah. And colonized others, and the ones that participated in the transatlantic slave trade, and we got to go down that whole history. But we know that because of the transatlantic slave trade, taking African people and kidnapping them and throwing them on a ship and forcing them into chattel slavery in the United States and the Caribbean and South America, we know that they had to create some type of cognitive dissonance, and in doing that, that's where we start getting these quote unquote races. Because before 1611, quote unquote races, they didn't exist. You were part of a tribe, you were part of a religion, you were Nordic people, or you were a Zulu, or you were something. People designated you by the tribe, not the color of your skin.
Yeah, you're attached to peoplehood, not
exactly. And
color,
so when we came to this side, we kind of divorced ourselves from that idea of, skin folk are kinfolk. That's a line a lot of people use, meaning that if we're the same skin color, we need to hold each other up and support each other no matter what. Yeah. And so what I love about Judaism is that's not true in Judaism. Judaism isn't about skin color, because you have Jews from Ethiopia, you have Jews from Morocco, you have Jews from Yemen, you have Jews from Poland, you have Jews from the Soviet Union, you have Jews from the UK, you have Jews from Brooklyn, you have Jews from Memphis. All different skin colors, all different backgrounds, all different traditions that's pouring into the Jewish well. And it's not about how light or dark my skin is. Yeah. It's about who my forefathers and foremothers were. So if you're the children, no matter whether it's conversion or whether you're born into it, however it is, if you're the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, why do I always forget her name?
List it again. Sorry.
Sarah, Rebecca, Leah,
Rachel.
Even in the prayer, I always forget Raquel. God forgive me. I forget Raquel. I don't know. Maybe there's something in her in my soul that me and Raquel ain't vibing. I don't know what it is.
She was the most loved.
She was the most loved.
I don't know what's wrong with you.
I don't know. But anyhow, we understand that it's not about skin color, right?
Yeah.
It's about peoplehood.
Yeah.
And so, are you Jewish or ain't you Jewish? That's the thing.
Is or is you ain't.
And once we realized that, it made belonging and community, it put a whole new spin on it for us. Like I said, my kids, before coming into this way, we went through the Messianic stuff and all that stuff. And I don't get down to that. If you want to hear that, we have other podcast episodes for that and how the whole story of how we came into the Jewish fold. But I think even through that, we took our kids out of church very early, so they already had a connection. We were very like pro-Israel anyway, so they already had like a connection to Israel, a connection to the Jewish people. So, the way you think about belonging is no longer I'm a Jew of color, or I'm a black Jew, or I'm a Mizrahi Jew, or a Sephardi Jew, or when we're all in a room, we're Jewish. Because the people that hate us, they don't care that you're a person of color, black, Mizrahi. They don't care if your ancestors are from Poland. They don't care if your ancestors are from Ethiopia. Yeah. They don't care if you're Reform or conservative, or they don't care if you're Orthodox, modern. They don't care. They just care that you're Jewish and we don't like you. So if that's the case for the people that hate us, we should flip that, because we love one another. We shouldn't care where you come from, who your ancestors come from, whether you're from Brooklyn or whether you're from Beit Shemesh. We should only care that because you're Jewish, I love you, no matter what. They say the sages say that the second temple, was destroyed because of baseless hatred and Lashana Ra. So I think in order to rebuild the temple back, we have to reverse it, right? We have to begin to have holy conversations about one another and have baseless love for one another, no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're at on the spectrum, from religious to non-religious and everything in between. If you are a Jew, I love you. And that's where I'm at with belonging and community and peoplehood. And and I think our kids already felt that, and that's how they feel seen, as they're Jewish. I'm a Jewish young lady. Yeah. And that's how they see them. They don't see themselves as black or a Jew of color, or, I mean, those are words we have to use because that's in America. Unfortunately, that's how people see you. They see your skin color and attach a whole bunch of different things on you because of that. Yeah. But thankfully, we're able to teach our kids that stuff is so minute. It's not even funny. You're Jewish. Yeah. That's what's important. You're a child of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that's what's important. And that's how we live our lives. That's how we generate our values. And that's where our values come from. Not the color of your skin, but the God that you worship. Yeah.
Nope, I agree. I think that I agree with all of those words. I think in practicality, because of the way that we grew up, and I guess I'll speak for myself, there are still times where it's like, oh, I feel I identify more with being Jewish than I do anything else. But there are still moments where it's like, you still have that little bit of you in the way that you were brought up, like, oh, well, that's a little too European for me. Or like, there are certain just bad habits that come, that you still have to fight those thoughts. In the end, like when I talk to my friends at shul, I don't feel a difference. We connect we're similar ages. We experience the same things as women, as parents. And so that's what we connect on. Right. And so I have never felt that my color even played a factor. I think they were more excited that I was becoming Jewish than anything else. They're like, great, let's bring you in. Let's show you how we live. Yeah. They were very quick to extend help if I have any questions, on anything kashrus, because they understand that even they struggle with that. Like that's just, again, we were brought into a family and we were shown what it's like to be a part of a Jewish family, which again, the same type of embrace should be shown in every community should have that, not just within, I mean, I think we're
100%. Yeah.
meant to be the beacons to the world in terms of how we do that. But definitely being in a community like this is what has shown me what belonging really means. You don't discriminate. Not to say that some people don't feel discriminated against within here. I mean, we don't know all of the dynamics, but in general,
speak of our own experience,
thank God our experience has been just, we've seen the best of the Jewish community.
100%.
Yeah.
Our community. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But so did we, if you could remember, I don't quite remember, and I may, while you talk, some things may come up, but did we change anything or reinforce anything during this transition to make our kids feel more grounded while everything else around them felt new?
So yeah, that question is interesting. I asked one of the girls if they could think of anything that just asked them that question specifically. And to them, they were like, no, everything at home felt normal. And so I think because we were being ourselves as usual, like we didn't change as people. So when they came home, they still recognized us. Oh, this is still, this is Abba. They're being themselves. When they went to school, even though everything was different, when they came home, I think they knew that, okay, this is still home. Yeah. We're still goofy. We're still ourselves. Yeah. And so I think that helped keep everything, copacetic. Yeah. Yeah. So thankfully we didn't have to change too much. And then keeping the lines of communication open. Right. I think that helped a lot. I checked in on the girls often. And so, to the point that they got annoyed. So I felt like, okay, great. If you feel annoyed that I'm asking if that everything's okay, then I'm like, okay, great. I guess I'd rather you be annoyed that I'm asking because nothing is wrong versus you feel like we didn't ask enough and you're just going along at this point just because you have to. So, That's good. Yeah. So now looking back, what do you think this transition gave our kids that they might not have gained if they had stayed where they were?
I think it gave them the true heart of what it means to be Jewish. What does that mean? So the Jewish heart is, I think it's illustrated through resilience. Like there's nothing in this world that's going to stop us from moving forward. That's going to stop us from being the people of Hashem. Whether it's through pogroms or the Holocaust or all the terrible things that have happened through Jewish history, the Spanish kicking the Jews out, the Northern African countries kicking the Jews out, October 7th, all these different things, what happened at Bondi Beach and so on and so forth. And just the resilience of the Jewish people that time after time after time after time that people knock us down, we keep getting back up. And I saw my children get knocked down because they were promised that after all the moving to this school, moving to that school, and again, the school system, just like any other inner city school, Memphis city schools aren't great. So when you find a good one, like you want to make sure your kids are in it. So if that means that, hey, I put my kids in this school and it didn't really work out, well, we need to try another school. You want to set your kid up for success. And I'm sure that's true about whether it's Memphis or St. Louis or Chicago or Philly or New York or whatever it is. I'm sure it's the same. But to tell them like, man, we finally found a good school. It is amazing. It's literally award winning. Even to this day, the school now, the schools did so well that the state was like, listen, we don't want you to be attached to this other school district. We're going to give you your own private school district. It's still a public school, but there's a lottery system. They have their own district. They're doing their own thing. They're attached to a research university, University of Memphis, which is a great institution. All these good things. And we said, you guys are going to graduate from this school, right? And then we made a promise. And then we broke that promise. And I saw them fall. And I saw their heart being broken. And I saw the wind of the socialness that my friends, all this stuff like fade from them. But then I saw them get back up. Yeah. I saw them fight to have friends and to be social and to be connected and to belong to this community. I saw the resilience in them that I think that if they stayed at the other school and life was cushy and they got everything they wanted and they built the friendships, adversity is going to come with the whole, kids in school are mean. And adversity comes and goes, but I don't think that most people at their age don't have this type of transition. So they're not able to build this level of resilience. And I think that resilience will help them, Bizrat Hashem, going into their adulthood, that they know that, hey, just because I failed here or just because this thing didn't go my way doesn't mean that I'm stopping. I'm still going to push forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I agree.
So, and we're about to wrap up here, guys. So I hope this has blessed everybody so far who's listened. But if a parent is listening, we'll both answer this. If a parent is listening right now, and they're facing a similar decision, moving their child into an unfamiliar environment and asking them to start over. So whether you're listening to this and you're going through a conversion process, you're moving from, Muncie to Teaneck, you're moving from Spring Hill to Memphis, you're moving from Nevada to LA, whatever that looks like. You're putting your children in an unfamiliar environment and asking them to start over. What do you hope they hear from our story?
Communicating with your children is key. Treat them with dignity, give them I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but they should also feel like they are a part of that transition, that their voice is being heard. Things may not go the way they want, but at least if the lines of communication are open, they're being heard, they're hearing us. And, a lot of times sometimes I think we figure, well, they won't understand why we're doing this. It's for their best interest. Give them a chance. Give them a chance to hear the reason we're making some of these changes, and let them see if they can. You'll be surprised. A lot of times they understand why we're making certain changes. They may not appreciate it, just like we also as adults don't like change. We understand why some things have to happen. But I think they appreciated being, treated with dignity throughout the process. Like, okay, we're doing this together. We'll bring you into the conversation. We'll hear your thoughts. We'll hear your frustrations. So, it's like, okay, at least you have a safe space to be able to express that. Hey, this really sucks. And that's okay. It's still we're going to push through it. We're going to push through that, challenging feeling and emotion, and then we'll reap the benefits later on, but we'll fight through it together. So I feel like this is what I would want someone to hear. Like talk to the kids. Talk to your kids.
I would definitely want somebody to hear that it's possible. Don't pass up a good opportunity, or something that you believe that Hashem has you on a road to, whether it's a transition to a new job, a new city, whatever it is, because you think that your kids won't do well in a new environment. If you're doing whatever the transition you're making, if it's for the right reasons, like I said before, I don't think Hashem will allow you to fail doing the right thing. I just don't believe that. He'll give you the tools. He'll give you the resources to complete that thing, and where everybody can be successful. And also, as Chana said, that just bring your kids along on the journey. Don't make them feel that they're on the back seat doing something that they're forced to do. Find ways to bring them alongside and make sure their voices are heard. And knowing that even though my voice is heard, like this is still happening, but I need a space to dump all my frustration and all this. And we can talk through these things and make special time for family. Because in a transition, you don't want your child to be isolated from new people in school, and you to be too busy with whatever the transition is that you begin to isolate your child as well. So make sure you prioritize the family, make sure you allow the kid to feel that they're a part of the journey. And don't pass up a good opportunity because you think that the transition's impossible. We are living proof that not only can you transition from, one Jewish community to another, but you can transition from a non-Jewish community into the Jewish community and still be very successful. Your kids be successful in school and all those different things. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So,
any last words you want to add to the people, or?
No, just lots of appreciation for where we are, where we've come from, how our family has grown and settled in. So, still lots to learn about the Jewish education system. Looking forward to it. I think I'm really looking forward to what it looks like for a Jewish kid to graduate high school and then go into like
the gap year.
So much the gap year. Like what is that? Yeah, there's so much to learn. So, very excited about all of it.
Yeah, so I'm hoping hope all my kids do a gap year in Israel and decide to stay there forever, because I'll be right behind them. So anyway, as we close, again, I want to thank Prizmah for partnering with us on this episode. Again, Prizmah works to strengthen Jewish day schools and yeshivas by supporting leaders, educators, and families through research and community building. If today's conversation resonated with you, I encourage you to explore HaYidion. This is Prizmah's magazine that shares thoughtful, honest perspectives on Jewish education and family life. You can find it at prizmah.org. Again, thanks for listening. And as always, light up the darkness, change the world. Peace.